Welcome back to a series so god tier. Even Kratos subscribed. In today's video, Hasan's favorite anime character, Luffy from One Piece, is trying to sue Ethan Klein for defamation. Ethan has responded. YouTuber and lawyer Legal Mindset has given his legal analysis on the lawsuit. Local Hasan orbiter Denims has been exposed as a massive creep. Hasan is back with his new favorite orbiter, Noah Samson, and is crying about Ethan Klein. Subscribe for your daily dose of internet drama. Bring it home, Jellywig.
Let's up those numbers!
But anyways, moving on to Hasan's best friend here, wanting to sue Ethan Klein for defamation. Timothée Chalamet says he wants to file a lawsuit against Ethan Klein. And here we got this lovely fellow here saying, why did Ethan Klein say that I'm a terrorist even though I am not? I am a Yemeni citizen. By the way, weapons in Yemen are just like phones, of course. Anyone can own them. I want to file a lawsuit against Ethan Klein. And he's pointed to, I guess this is like the content nuke video. So guys, you're telling me the guy who said he partied with the captains of the ship, you know, the literal hostages. Reminder, this is the ship that was hijacked by the Houthis, you know, the US designated terrorist org. This guy who tweets about bombing ships and impaling people. I just feel like that's not something civilians do. This guy's also explicitly called himself a soldier, you know, while saying son of a Jew. I feel like you can't get mad that people are calling you a terrorist when you literally brand yourself as a terrorist online. People responded, why did he feel the need to mention the thing about weapons? It's just my phone, actually. It's like, you know, I have an AK-47 in my pocket. It's just normal. Is he also suing Hasan for describing him as a Houthi rebel before interviewing him?
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean? Excuse me. Of course I'm about to have a... I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism. It's so weird. It's so weird. Motherfuckers want journalism, and when I'm trying to do journalism, they go, why are you doing that?
Yeah, real journalism right there. So Hasan himself called him a Houthi rebel. Now, what is a Houthi again? The US designated terrorist org. So that would qualify as Hasan also calling him a terrorist there. So I'm just confused why Hasan isn't getting sued as well, considering he is defaming you here, of course. Honestly, I can't believe this video is still up. Like, this did not get him banned. This has still not been taken down. He is unashamedly just platforming this guy. And here, this guy is admitting a bunch of shit that completely incriminates him. You're labeled a terrorist because you, checks notes, works with the terrorist organization. Pretty simple. You know what would be funny? If he files a lawsuit, has to fly to America for court, and then gets arrested and charged for terrorism. That would be so meme-worthy. Honestly, that's actually what's going to happen if he tries to sue Ethan Klein. He won't even make it past the border. Bro admitted to being a Houthi and now wants to backtrack. I want to file a lawsuit against Ethan Klein. It's like that episode from The Office with Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy by just yelling bankruptcy out loud. Like, you can sue him, that's fine, but like, go file the paperwork. Nobody cares if you just say it. I mean, hilarious things are happening. I'd say go for it, man. Well, he can't file a lawsuit in his native Yemen because they will shoot him because it's related to a terrorist org. Can't sue in the United States because he gets front row ticket to the coziest resort in Guantanamo Bay. Hasan Piker made this terrorist famous, and now the terrorist has social media followers in the US. This is what Hasan Piker contributes to our country. Somebody just posted this tweet of him impaling what appears to be a Jew. You know, execution will carry out on all Zionists. Yeah, classic non-terrorist tweet here. Yeah, dude, really normal tweets here. Tel Aviv will burn. Okay, dude. Yes, the ships we bombed and sank. Yes, civilians do this, obviously. To every Zionist, I would put this into your stomach, and it's an AK-47. Yes. Yes, a very normal civilian, guys. Why would anybody think this guy's a terrorist? I can't believe you said this. Defamation, guys. So Ethan responded to the lawsuit threat. Treat me like one of your Filipino sailors' daddy. Literally has a selfie with the hostages saying that he was a Houthi with Hasan. No way, that's a KFC in Yemen, guy. I can't believe this.
Oh, they do have KFC in Yemen? That's crazy. Okay, that's sick.
Is there a KFC in Yemen? No way, dude! There's a KFC in Yemen! He's just like us!
As a Filipino with a family member who's a sailor on merchant vessels that had multiple passes through Yemen, may they get the airstrike they all deserve. Damn, radio sounds periods for maneuvers feel like hell for waiting families. Anyways, Legal Mindset responded, giving his legal analysis of this lawsuit threat. Let's just check out if this case actually has any merit. So first, he talks about who this guy actually is.
Infamous hot Houthi pirate dubbed Timothée Chalamet is thinking about suing Ethan Klein. That's right, suing him for calling him a terrorist. This guy goes online by the name Rashid Al-Haddad, aka Timothée Chalamet, for his resemblance, obviously, to Timothée Chalamet from the movie Dune. And he became famous for really getting circulated in social media as the quote-unquote hot Houthi pirate, and for being brought on stream with one Hassan Piker, which had almost no ramifications at all from Twitch.
Dude, I still can't believe Hasan got no ban for platforming and actually supporting this freak. Also, how crazy of a fan base do you have to have for people in your fan base to simp over an apparent Houthi pirate? Like, I know there was that trend on social media of like simping over, really degenerate freaks like murderers and stuff, but man, I guess they're just keeping it up here. By the way, speaking of bans, it's been 2 days and Mike from PA has not actually been unbanned, so his viewers were actually wrong about this. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Now, obviously, the question remains, is it gonna last more than a week, right? Because, in my opinion, should be a permaban, but we'll see. So far, so good. Then he talks about the possible case he could have against Ethan.
So the first thing you're going to look at is what would be suing for? Well, defamation. And a lot of people on the internet do call other people a terrorist. Now, that is not a word in and of itself per se, that is automatically defamatory. It's not one of those words where it would necessarily yet 100% say this is going to go into the camp of defamation. There are certain words that you can say or call people that are more defamatory than others. And there's certain words you can call people that are really not defamatory. If you call people, certain derogatory terms that are just vulgar and they're purely vulgar, but not criminal, they tend to not be defamatory. However, if you're calling someone a criminal, and a terrorist is typically a criminal, that is something that leans on the side of defamatory. So that's what I look at with the analysis of, is a statement defamatory or not? Is it implicating someone as a criminal? When it does, it tends to be more defamatory than not. So that's where that statement generally lands. And there's a lot of people on the internet that are called this day to day.
Okay, yeah, so obviously calling someone a terrorist without any basis would be pretty bad. Unless, of course, they make their entire online presence, appearing to be a terrorist. Obviously bragging about bombing ships is not something a regular person does. Somehow this guy has access to hostages captured by a terrorist group, right? So that would cause a reasonable person to think, okay, maybe this guy's a little bit sus. If this was a game of Among Us, I would vote this guy out. He be acting sus. Also, if this was his main concern, actually being called a terrorist, he should probably go after Hasan as well, because he called him a Houthi pirate, Houthi being a terrorist group. So he obviously doesn't care about that, and I don't know, he just really doesn't like Ethan Klein. In the past, he's tweeted that he wants to end Ethan Klein, like I'm the only one who can stop him forever. So yeah, just not a very mentally sound guy, it seems. You know what? Make it a double whammy. Hasan should join his lawsuit, but they both should attempt to joint sue Ethan Klein. I want to see how that ends up. So this next part, he talks about if there's actual malice in Ethan's accusations.
Why is this difficult? Well, the standard under New York Times versus Sullivan is malicious, because this guy is undoubtedly a public figure. He puts himself out there on social media. He's very active on social media. He went on a top streamers, stream. So there would need to be malice. So what he says would need to be maliciously untrue. The fact of the matter is, based on photos like these photos, where we see Tim Houthi here posing, or Mr. Rashid posting with the stolen ship. This is a hijacked ship, a confirmed hijacked ship. He actually goes closer to the ship in another video, but you can see it here. He's also posing in what looks like military attire with an AK over here. So looking at this, it gives you a reasonable belief. Looking at this, a reasonable person, a regular person, a normie, a total normie who knows nothing about this, says, wow, this guy could be a terrorist. Is it malicious to say this guy could be a terrorist? It's possible he could be a terrorist. I think a reasonable person could say that. However, it is possible that he is not legally defined as a terrorist, i.e., he is not personally a member of a group that is deemed a terrorist.
I mean, I think it would be pretty stupid for him to openly admit he's a terrorist. That's not a very good strategy, obviously. But yeah, I guess he's lucky. Nobody has the time to fly there and go fact check if he's actually what he claims to be. I'm just saying the circumstances are interesting. His admissions are very incriminating. And there's kind of a saying for these type of situations: if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. And even if hypothetically he doesn't word for word fall for the legal definition of terrorist, then he should stop advertising himself as such online. If you advertise yourself one way and people think you are that thing, it is not defamation to call you that. You can't be like, hey guys, I am a soldier. Here's my AK-47. Here's the people I captured. Here's the ships I bombed. Here's the people I want impaled. How can you call me a terrorist, guys? I am so offended. How could anybody do this to me? It is absolute defamation. I mean, this is a ridiculous case. It's never gonna win. And Legal Mindset agrees. Here he talks about how this guy would definitely lose a case against Ethan.
Right. He's probably trying to make that argument. He's probably going to say, I'm Yemeni and Klein is criticizing me for Yemeni. Okay, maybe that might even be a fair argument. I'll even entertain that fact, right? Give him a benefit of the doubt for a second. But guess what? He would still lose at a case in the United States because the legal standard is higher. So with the U.S. Legal standard here, the likely result would be a case to be dismissed, right? So the U.S. claim would likely be dismissed either at motion to dismiss or at summary judgment. He would likely, if he brought the case and even had the money to bring the case, they would outright dismiss it, or it would get to summary judgment. They'd say, look, you don't meet the you don't meet the level of malice. You really can't prove that Ethan Klein is being malicious and he's lying completely about this.
Yeah, that's because Ethan Klein isn't being malicious. He's literally making observations and coming to reasonable conclusions. If I see that some 55-year-old dude is attracted to and pursues like a 15-year-old, I'm gonna be like, well, you're kind of like a PDF file, right? And then they're gonna be like, oh, well, actually the definition, it's for a 13-year-old, so technically, not really, guys. I'm gonna be like, well, that's a bunch of bullshit, right? You can argue semantics, but hey, you're quacking like a duck. And honestly, I'm not even against this. I want to see this. I want to see this guy go to the US, try to sue him, and attempt to even dodge getting arrested by border security, because I have a feeling somebody with this sort of social media presence who is so open about what he seems to do, I feel like you're gonna get stopped by the Department of Homeland Security. Now keep in mind, Hasan Piker, the Twitch streamer, literally got stopped at the airport simply for mentioning Hamas and the Houthis. So what do you think they're gonna do to this guy? I mean, I hope he's actually dumb enough to try this. Imagine he just flies over, instantly goes to jail. I feel like this guy's obviously all talk. He's just trying to act tough with the lawsuits because he saw that Ethan is actually suing a bunch of people. I don't know who is actually communicating all this information to him, because he doesn't seem to be able to understand the online discourse properly. I don't know if Hasan's having regular phone calls with this guy or something. We probably need to investigate that shit or something. But I imagine he just saw Ethan suing a bunch of people. He's like, well, actually, I need to do this too. So after this Legal Mindset talks about his grift and the way he like markets himself,
you'd have to put more proof out there that you are definitively not a member of a terrorist group, because at this point, what it seems like is he is grifting off his grift. The quote unquote hot Houthi pirate is grifting off being a sexy terrorist and trying to make terrorism sexy. And if that is what he is marketing himself as, then people would not be mistaken to take himself as a terrorist. So if he's marketing himself as a terrorist, as the kind of bad boy terrorist, the hot bad boy terrorist, the rebel who's fighting back, well, if people interpret you as you market yourself, that's not malicious.
Dude, only Hasan Piker's fandom can actually be this dumb. Imagine simping over a Houthi pirate, dude. What kind of a fucking degenerate being do you actually have to be to have crushes on these sort of people? Like, with Hasan Piker's influence, we might legitimately be evolving backwards. And it is absolutely not defamation to literally interpret what you're putting out there as it's meant meant to be. Any reasonable person seeing what you post online would believe you to be a terrorist based on your, social media profile. And because of that, you have absolutely no case. Now, keep in mind, that was all for the US, which is not even applicable considering this guy is getting arrested immediately upon going there, right? So what about the case in Yemen? Well, here's how that's going to go down.
Now, the one thing that could happen, and this is going over to Yemen, is he could get an unenforceable Yemeni judgment or a local tribal court ruling. So in Yemen, there's, as in many countries, it's very, very common, right? There's often customary law, what's called customary law of dispute resolution, meaning the centralized legal system is weak, and that exists in many countries all over the world. Therefore, the customs that are applicable, the local customs, the local ways of life, they can be types of rulings. But getting some local tribal ruling in Yemen is not going to be enforceable in a U.S. court. They're going to laugh at that and toss it out. It's just not going to work. So as much as he might have that piece of paper at some point from some Yemeni, local tribal yokel, that's not going to work in the United States or any big boy country with real legal systems. So that said, likely a social media stunt for attention due to lawsuits trending. Right now, lawsuits are hot. The Klein lawsuit is big, and he wants to clout jack off of that, get back in the algorithm, get trending again, and get attention for his particular causes. And this is absolutely a nonsense lawsuit that would go absolutely nowhere.
Well, there you have it. Nonsense lawsuit, cooked by the lawyer, legally cooked. And this was obviously a pathetic stunt to raise attention for, I don't know, the Houthi cause or something. Obviously, I wanted to show a lot of more information here, but I don't think that's appropriate for YouTube here. So feel free to check it out yourself, doing some investigation on this guy if you so choose. But yeah, ridiculous case, empty threat. You're gonna have to go back to One Piece, buddy. Take your buddy Hasan, jump back into fantasy land. Good old Houthi Piker is devastated at this information. Moving on to Denims defending Lolly. Basically, Ethan has called her out for this insane take involving infamous creep Chris Tyson. Basically, some quick context if you missed the Mr. Beast saga. Basically, Mr. Beast's best friend Chris got exposed for being this massive creep, right? They were supporting and buying art from this person named Shadman, and this was like this degenerate freak who drew real life kids, minors, in like prawn positions in their art or whatever, and they even drew it of Keemstar's daughter, like actual real life daughter. Now, Chris actually bought some art from this person of a kid looking art thing, and they had like a gun in their mouth, very degenerate picture, and it was like sexualized as well, and they hung it on their wall, right? For some reason, Denims is defending Chris Tyson here.
The art that Ava had, the poster.
Oops.
The poster, as far as I see, doesn't look like it is or is not a fucking child. It's like edgy art.
Oh, hey.
And that's it.
Now, just to address what she's saying, it looks like a child.
Yeah, no,
and
questionably,
and they're like
so.
thirsting. They're looking sexual. It's genuinely repulsive.
Yeah, no, it's
like
bad.
I retch when I look at it and when I think about it. And I'm not gonna show you guys because it's horrific.
Right, so if you watched the Mr. Beast Chris Tyson drama when it happened and you actually saw the image, it 100% does look like a child in a freaky position or whatever. Absolute degenerate shit. I can't believe Denims is actually defending this. It is super sus, defending straight up like PDF file behavior here. And I don't know, man. Is it a coincidence? Is it like a new law of the universe that every single Hasan orbiter has to be like this massive freaking weirdo creep? Apparently, Denims used to do this type of art before as well. Massive creep signals from Denims here as well.
The artist does do actual lolly as well, so it's like if you're like a big enough fan to have bought the art and be hanging it on your wall,
yeah,
I think it's probably safe to assume you're into their other work, so to speak.
And then Denims goes, "I shall defend you. I will go against the grain to defend this file."
The person who made it apparently went on to make child art.
Well, that's not good.
Edgy.
That's not a good thing, is it?
Which is insane, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But why are you saying...
Well, we'll see how insane she thinks it is. We have got a lot more into here. Mrs. Lolly Denims.
Ava bought a child poster when the poster she bought wasn't?
Because it was. Because it was, and you're defending a pedophile, the artist. Really creepy business here, Denims. Very creepy business.
Dude, can somebody explain to me, why does Denims feel the need to die on this hill? Like, why are you so adamant in this defense, right? And I think I know why, right? First off, yes, it wasn't actually a real kid that Chris Tyson hung on the wall. It was, you know, LOL art or whatever. And even that was like of the most degenerate kind, right? But yes, this person did go on to draw actual kids. So it was very clear where their mind was at. And even that art isn't something like, oh yeah, like a regular person owns that shit. That is degenerate freak shit, all right? Now, there was actually a bunch more going on with the whole Chris Tyson situation, which is why we knew they were a creep. Basically, I'm not gonna rehash the whole thing. There were a bunch of leaked Discord messages that were extremely creepy too. But yeah, everybody basically agreed that what Chris Tyson did was extremely messed up, and Shadman even more, right? And the thing is, Denims actually knows this. I mean, she's watching like what appears to be like a Moist Critical video or something explaining the whole situation, and somehow she's like the #1 defender here. Now, there's actually a couple possibilities here as to why she's actually defending it. Number one is that she thinks Critical is some right-wing grifter or something, so she automatically wants to take the antagonistic position and disagree with everything he's saying. A lot of these Hasan orbiters like do that shit, so maybe she's not actually thinking. But the second option, and the more likely one, is that apparently she used to be a LOL artist as well. And after this, Ethan actually goes over a ton of the art she actually drew, and it had super cringe captions like, you know, involving kids and stuff. And she made it clear that this art, you know, which looks like kids, and then she put the caption like, oh yeah, this is definitely kids, right? And it was in very creepy, weird positions that like kissing each other, a bunch of shit, very icky stuff. Now, for the sake of you guys, I'm not gonna show it. I feel icky even talking about it, honestly. But yeah, it was really bad. You can check out Ethan's video if you want to, you know, see the details of what she was actually drawing in the past or whatever. But yeah, really messed up shit. All right, moving on to Noah Samson and Hasan just, you know, licking each other's balls. Now, I wanted to go over this clip. Somebody from the H3 subreddit made a 5-minute compilation of all the lies and BS Hasan and co said about Ethan Klein today. So first, they talk about Ethan's clothing brand.
Or it was like, oh, you don't like Teddy Fresh? You sent skulls to my house. How dare you say you don't like my wife's adult baby clothes?
That one. Yeah, no, I want that.
The Teddy Fresh rug.
Okay, I need to get that.
You want one?
Yeah.
Done.
Definitely. Oh, I want that one too. What about the top? Okay, I want that. Okay, I want the socks, and I want the swim shorts, and I want the Flames camp shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the green ones? What is that? The answer is like almost always.
Well, what about this?
Yeah, I want
It
those.
does like that.
I want those.
Absolute shocker, guys. He's actually bullshitting and flip-flopping on everything. Nobody could have ever seen this coming. So basically, this is Hasan's logic, right? Ethan was my co-host and my friend, therefore I love his merch, I love everything about him. Oh, he's just the sweetest guy in the world. How can anybody hate Ethan at all? The second he's my enemy, well, what a disgusting adult baby merch. Oh, his wife is probably a terrorist as well, which I was completely okay with when I was, you know, co-hosting a podcast with him. But now she's a fucking terrorist. She doesn't even love him. Oh, all of his employees hate him. This is such a toxic work environment. His clothes suck. Everything about him sucks. Like, what a complete fake fraud, dude. Holy shit. This is what you call like an actual pathetic man with no real opinions of his own, and he just basically grifts to the side which he needs to support his politics, right? Right, so this next part, they make fun of the skulls being sent to Ethan's house again, right? Just once again saying that he's hallucinating anti-Semitism. It doesn't even exist, guys. It just, you know, Ethan is crashing out over nothing.
At a time, in this troublesome time.
That's murder, bro.
In this troublesome time where I've had, as a Jewish man, skulls sent to my house.
It's not even that he has it. It's like she helped. Because she said this thing, she's a part of the snark, the giant scary thing that's all around me that did skull stuff and did CPS. It's like, I don't know. It's like a guy that's backed into a corner, alone in a room.
Dude, these guys gotta be like the absolute king of misrepresenting every single argument humanly possible. And he's obviously there with Noah Samson, who routinely does that in pretty much every video he makes. And it's just genuinely vile to still continually joke about these skulls being sent to his house, which was presumably a death threat on his kids. Just refreshing your guys' memory, because this was literally 80 episodes ago, right? So just not having a hint of remorse for that at all. And I feel like we should keep that same energy, right? For when eventually they lose their careers and get sued into oblivion or potentially arrested, right? I think we keep the same energy, no sympathy, because you've had your chance to apologize here. Right, so this next part, Hasan does the most unexpected thing ever. We could have never guessed. He starts defending terrorists again.
I have told Ethan Klein 10 toes down within the framework of Israel doing a genocide and a regional actor trying to take action against Israel doing a genocide. The Houthis are right. They are correct. They're correct to do a naval blockade.
They're the only ones following international law. Exactly.
Because I do care about anti-Semitism. He doesn't. He just wants to weaponize it against not even like critics of Israel necessarily, but it usually is critics of Israel, obviously. But but it's more so just people who fucking make him feel bad.
Wait, guys, no way. You're telling me the guy who said, I support the Houthis 10 toes down, actually supports the Houthis? This is the most shocking information I've ever experienced in my entire life. Thank you once again for clarifying, Hasan. If any of the Hasan Glazos were like, well, that was a while back. He doesn't support terrorists anymore. That was in the past. He's a changed man now. Well, there you go. Another refresher that Hasan routinely plays defense for terrorist organizations who violate, civilians, kill them. So him ever even mentioning the word empathy should be thrown out the fucking window, like he did in that NPR podcast or whatever. Dude, you have no empathy for actual, legitimately innocent civilians. So how is anybody ever going to take you seriously regarding any topic? Also, I just find it insane that this guy says that I care about anti-Semitism, right? I recognize it as a problem, while simultaneously supporting terrorist groups whose whole motto is to eliminate all the Jews, literally remove them from planet Earth. So how can you possibly say that you care about anti-Semitism? You routinely foster anti-Semitism in your community as well, right? So this next part, he accuses Ethan of being like this tyrannical boss and that nobody can speak out on his show against him. He's just surrounded by a bunch of yes men, and if anybody tries to speak out, they just instantly get fired. Completely just making up stories.
And the panel of great anti-Semitic fucking lunatics. So, by the way,
is no one gonna push back? What happened? Did their mics get muted? I know none of those motherfuckers in the room feel that way.
You saw how even he on his own got to the point of talking about you, and that riled him up to the point where he's yelling, and they didn't even say anything. So I'm assuming challenging him on that point on anything to do with you would result in, I'm pretty sure it has. He kind of freaks out. So it's
does.
The vibe of the show are so because it's everyone's I don't want to say anything about this because this guy's gonna freak out at me. And
yeah, that's just straight up a bunch of bullshit. If you watched Ethan's show, he literally does allow disagreement. We've actually covered him literally admitting when he's wrong as well, something Hasan has literally never done. Send me one clip where Hasan has actually said that, hey, I admit I am wrong here. In recent memory, I just don't have a clip like that. Also on Ethan's show, if you do actually disagree with him, he will banter with you. He'll debate with you, stuff like that. But for the Hasan orbiters, if you ever disagree with them, you are flipping enemies for life. You are enemy number one, and he will try to ruin your life along with the other Hasan orbiters will basically turn on you, right? And that's kind of what happened to Ethan, which is why it is always a horrible idea to nestle yourself in these communities, because you might be okay with some of the things they say, but they are obviously way too extreme, and you just can't be ignoring those parts, right? And I feel like Noah is perfectly smug sitting next to him for now, right? right? Wait till you actually have a single different take from Hasan, right? These people will literally eat you alive, and then nobody will have any sympathy for you because we warned you, we try to tell you, and you constantly support these types of people. And I feel like it really sucks that they don't just go after Ethan. They love to go after everyone around him and everyone he actually cares about, like his friends, his employees, his wife, his literal kids, fighting as dirty as humanly possible. And then they want you to have, sympathy for them, empathy for them. For example, the Hasan orbiters are getting completely screwed, and then they'll be like, oh, well, rich man is ruining these people's lives. Like, have you seen how fucking vile they are? Like, they absolutely deserve this shit, Then after this, Hasan compares Ethan to Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel.
To take a fucking ongoing genocide and actively turn it back to your own personal distaste for your former podcast co-host because he made you feel bad when he was fucking gently trying to explain to you that you can't fucking call Jewish Voice for Peace capos. If he had listened to me in October 2023, okay, and respected me and wasn't so fucking deeply Islamophobic and a massive piece of shit, he wouldn't be in this situation right now. He wouldn't be looking like a 40-year-old man who just cannot comprehend that this is beyond him and myself. Palestinians. Okay, well then what's the difference between you and Benjamin Netanyahu in this regard?
Dude, honestly, how fucking far gone is this guy? Comparing Ethan to Netanyahu when Ethan routinely, completely disavows Netanyahu all the time. He disagrees with the way Israel is handling, the whole situation in Gaza and everything. And Hasan acting like he's the only one who cares about Palestinians or whatever is just absolutely crazy. I mean, am I wrong when I say this is the most perfectly curated echo chamber, right? We got how many? 15 to 20 mindless zombie NPC orbiters. Hasan is always surrounded by these literal yes men. He places them on this cuck chair behind him, and he constantly talks to his stream, responding to chatters, and he's like, oh, please agree with me, I'm totally right, I'm totally valid, right? Meanwhile, the person in the back is just this soulless husk, whether it be iDubbbz or Noah or something. You guys are literally treated like lesser humans, and you just go along with it. It's pathetic. All of you have no personality of your own. You just consistently get bitched by Hasan, and you're just adopting any of his similar viewpoints here. And iDubbbz, I sort of understand it because he's used to being used and abused by Anissa, but all these other people, man, come on, get a life or some shit. Holy, this is just tragic. Then basically, as Hasan is explaining something, Noah realizes that Hasan sounds like a complete fucking idiot, so he tries to play defense for him after he's done, right?
And it's not like the Hitler drank water argument, right? Where it's these things you're doing are unrelated and the comparison isn't unrelated. The talking point and the propaganda you are saying is the exact same propaganda that's being used to justify the genocide. They're not unrelated. And when the propaganda you're using is used in service to attack pro-Palestine advocates, then you're doing exactly what the state of Israel is doing in committing a genocide. You're running cover for it. You're propagandizing for it. You're normalizing it for millions of people on the internet. And that's why we say you backed it, is because there's only two options really.
Is it just me, or can Noah barely fucking speak there? His voice is getting more silent and silent because he realizes the words coming out of his mouth sound completely fucking brain dead. Have some conviction, bro. Say it with your chest, as Hasan would say, right?
Have some conviction.
And I feel like the same argument applies to Hasan because he is normalizing terrorist support to millions of people on the internet, right? So how can you actually say this stuff with a straight face when Hasan is out here literally dehumanizing an entire group of people, and the Hasan orbiters, Jews are a demonic ethnicity. You're just justifying all your bigoted views through political means, using this war in Gaza as a whole excuse. Oh, it's the Zionists. Zionists are the evil guys. But obviously we're talking about Jews here. Absolutely pathetic individuals in their entirety. Every single one of the Hasan orbiters, man. They're just ruining their reputations and careers. And this is getting to the point where it's unsalvageable. Each of them, some of them are getting sued. Some of them are getting banned. Some of them are getting they have to flee countries or some shit. Noah, it's not looking good for you either. Now click this video or you become a real life pirate, guys. It's not as fun as the anime turns out. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.